Welcome back to Legacy Labs. Today I want to talk about why good ideas get rejected because we usually assume that if an idea is good, it should move. If the claim is true, people should accept it. If the proposal makes sense, the room should see it. If symbols matter, the system should understand it. But that's not always how it works. A good idea can still fail, and not because it's bad. Sometimes it fails because it enters the wrong room in the wrong shape. And that's what narrative architecture calls an admissibility problem. And I don't mean that in a legal sense, I mean it structurally. Can the room receive this? Does the system know what it's looking at? Does it have a category for it? Because a lot of ideas get rejected before their real value is ever evaluated. The issue is not always the idea. Sometimes the issue is the container. So the surface problem. So what it looks like. So the frustration usually sounds like this. I explained it. The idea is good. The evidence is there. The work is strong. The proposal makes sense. They should understand this. And sometimes, honestly, you're right. You may have explained it. The work may be solid. The point may be true. But systems do not respond to truth automatically. They respond to what they can reorganize, or they respond to what they can recognize. That's the part that people underestimate. A company has priorities, a hiring process has filters, a platform has compression, an AI model needs structure, an audience needs memory, a relationship has emotional history. So the same idea can land differently depending on where it enters. What works in one room can fail in another, not because the meaning changed, but because the receiving structure changed. So the false fix, what people usually try. When an idea gets rejected, most people will try to explain harder, offer more context, more proof, more examples, more detail, more urgency. And that makes sense if people just need more information. But if the problem is structure, adding more information does not fix it. It can actually make the idea heavier. Now the room has even more to sort through, but still no clear way to act. That is how people get stuck repeating themselves. They think I just need to make the point stronger, but sometimes the point is already strong. It just needs to be translated, not watered down, not made generic, translated. That's the difference. So the structural break. The break happens when an idea has value, but the system receiving it cannot move it forward. Think about how often this happens. A team member says the process is broken, and they might be right, but the organization hears a complaint. They don't hear a proposal. A job applicant has a real experience, but the resume does not match the filter. A brand has a real identity, but the audience has not learned what to remember. Someone gives an AI a strong intention, but the prompt does not give enough structure. A cultural symbol means inheritance to one group, but an institution reads that as a threat. That is the same pattern showing up in different places. The thing may be real, the value may be there, but the system does not know how to carry it yet. Just a simple example. So let's use a simple workplace example. Someone says, this process is broken. Everybody is frustrated. We keep wasting time and nobody's listening. And that might be true, but in a meeting, that can easily get heard as venting, emotion, friction, complaining. Now take the same point and let's reshape it. So this workflow is creating a repeated delay at the review stage. The same handoff breaks every week, which causes duplicated work and missed deadlines. I recommend assigning one owner to the review step, setting a 24-hour response window, and tracking the bottleneck for 2 weeks. It's the same truth, different structure. So the first version releases pressure. The second version gives the system something to do with that pressure. That's admissibility. The idea did not become less true, it became more movable. So the narrative architecture read. So from a narrative architecture perspective, this is about movement under pressure. Pulse is the core idea. What are you actually trying to preserve? The claim, the proposal, the symbol, the emotional truth, the thing that can't get lost. Pressure is what tests that idea. A casual conversation may understand something that a formal system cannot process. That does not mean the idea is wrong. It means the pressure changed. Rhythm. An idea can be right and still arrive too early. A proposal can be useful and still show up before the room is ready. Inheritance is the background the idea carries. So history, experience, memory, old patterns, cultural context. But you cannot assume the receiving system knows that background. If it matters, you have to make it visible without overloading the message. So motif is the repeated pattern. If the same kind of ideas keeps getting rejected, pay attention. That repetition is a diagnostic. And then memory. Memory is what the system already recognizes. If there's no memory for your idea, you may have to build the bridge before expecting movement. So the diagnostic is simple. A strong idea still needs structure that can carry it. So where this shows up, so you can see this everywhere. It shows up in organizations. Ideas stalls. Ideas stall when they're not connected to ownership, cost, timeline, or risks. In AI workflows, prompts drift when the user gives intention but not structure. In hiring, qualified people disappear because their experience is not translated into the language of the filter. In branding, a strong message fails when the audience has no memory for it yet. In public discourse, cultural meaning gets misread because the receiving system has a different category for it. In relationships, a real feeling can still land badly because of timing, tone, or emotional history. So, different places, same issue. The idea has to be carried by the structure it enters. So, the better questions. We ask different questions in narrative architecture. So, the usual question is the idea good? And that matters, but it's not enough. A better question is, what does this system need in order to move this forward? That question changes the whole approach because now you're asking, what am I trying to preserve? Who is receiving this? What do they recognize? What proof do they need? What language do they respond to? What might they misread? What can I move without weakening the point? What has to stay protected? That moves you out of frustration and into diagnosis because sometimes the job is not to explain harder. Sometimes the job is to translate better. So the strategy shift. So the strategy shift is simple. We're going to stop only trying to prove the idea and we're going to start making the idea admissible. So instead of asking, how do I make them understand? Ask, what structure would help this land? Instead of asking, why are they rejecting this? Ask, what are they unable to process? Instead of asking, is this idea strong? Ask, is the idea movable? That is the upgrade. Preserve the meaning, change the structure, and help the idea survive the system. So I wrote a Legacy Labs article on this. You can check it out in the narrative architecture application section. So this is the free article on why good ideas get rejected. It goes a little bit deeper on this diagnosis. I will link that in the description. I will also link this one in the description as well. This is the strategy guide on how to make meaning more admissible. So this one teaches you how to diagnose it, detect it, and fix it. So I will link that in the description, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I hope you have a great afternoon. Take care.